Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is RemovableSanity and today I'm reviewing Gungrave G.O.R.E on the Series X, developed by Iggy Mob Co Limited and published by PlayOn. So what is Gungrave G.O.R.E? Gungrave G.O.R.E is a third-person action shooter which reopens the franchise and continues the story from the Gungrave series. The premise is you take control of Grave, a gun-wielding badass reanimated corpse who mows down tons of enemies in a gory ballet of bullets. You are tasked of stopping the production of Seed, a drug that turns users into monsters by any means necessary. The game boasts a story of vengeance, love and loyalty, over-the-top third-person action shooting with close-range martial arts, a selection of different characters to play as, and unlockable moves, skills and stats, with approximately 31 levels. First up is accessibility. With regards to accessibility, there is only subtitles, and here they can be turned on or off. The game's basic attack button is the right trigger that you have to continuously press in order to fire, and even with about motor issues, this did make my hand a bit sore. Visually, there are no colour tone options, and with the mass carnage on display, things can get visually hectic for those without visual issues. This means in general, if you have motor skill issues or visual issues, you really won't be able to play this. Now, recently, the developer has stated that they are looking to patch in some accessibility options, so fingers crossed they come soon. Next is gameplay. The gameplay starts with you taking control of Grave, and I'll quickly introduce the mechanics which will help you shoot, slash and blow up anything or anyone who stands in front of you. Now, you don't have to have played the original series, as there's a catch-up video in the options menu allowing you to understand the backstory and where you stand in this new iteration. In essence, all you really need to know is that Seed, a drug that turns its users into monsters, had thought to be eradicated, but in reality hasn't. This time it's been sold by the Raven clan, so Mika, your boss, beyond the grave, or Grave to his friends plus crew, head to Scumland to stop Seed production and take the Raven clan and its 4 bosses down. Dropped off, you make your way forward to do just that. Grave starts with 5 health pips and a rechargeable shield to allow him to take quite a bit of damage as he progresses through the story. Grave wields a pair of unlimited bullet pistols as his main weapons for choice of killing. However, with these he can also charge them for a powerful shot capable of breaking shields, or burst mode, which do an area-wide attack but fixes you in place whilst doing so. You can also have the ability to dodge while shooting and jump. He also carries a large coffin which he uses as a melee weapon with a variety of different 3-hit combos. Whilst doing this move, you can also deflect incoming missiles being thrown at you back to its owner. Also, using your coffin, you can grab nearby enemies and use them as a human shield should things get too hectic and you see your life leaving before your eyes. However, this coffin does so much more with regards to demolition shots, special abilities that cost charges, which you build up by dealing damage to enemies. These special abilities are by far the most visually impressive attacks that can be anything from area effect devastating moves that wipe out a good selection of enemies, or powerful continuous stream attacks that fix you in place but does tremendous damage. Using these are also your best option for regaining back large amounts of health, as there is no health pickups in the game. You can gain back shield energy by executing enemies at low health, and it is faster than letting you recharge over time. Now, you may think it's all about killing enemies. Whilst true, it's the way you do it that's the real key to the game. For every bullet you land on an enemy or destructible object, you get 1 beat. Keeping Grave's beat counter high as you can by constantly shooting enemies and grabbing a high art score which comes from executions, melee combo finishes and demolition shots. Keeping this maintained is tough as it disappears quickly if you're not hitting or shooting something, which in turn pushes you to consistently be on the attack. In the more quieter areas where enemies are limited, you can still maintain this by shooting objects in the environment like cars, boxes or neon signs. Keeping on top of all of this can be tricky as different moves give different things. For example, executions boost your shield recharge and up your art score, but add only one beat to the counter, whilst demolition shots restore a good amount of health and art score, but don't contribute to your beat count. When you finally hit your stride, it feels amazing and can be addictive in your bid to get higher chains. Now, of course, this isn't just for fun, as when you complete a level, you'll be graded. You are scored in 5 categories: time, kill rate, life remaining, highest beat count, and art score on a scale from D to S. The bigger the score, the better re-rating you'll get, which in turn will give you more points to spend at your lab. Here is where you can upgrade your character's move list, stats, and add different demolition shots for you to enjoy. Another great option here is to refund your choices and use it to choose alternative abilities should you get stuck. Now you can't do this in game, only at the end of a level or on the main menu, so be aware should you hit a wall that you're struggling to get past. One thing I would thoroughly recommend you do is upgrade your gun damage stats as quick as possible, even grinding some earlier levels to ramp this up. The game can quickly switch difficulty mid-level and become brutal when waves of enemies come at you and you can't kill them quickly enough, something I learned early on to my own detriment. Another aspect that could put some people off, besides the odd difficulty spike, is that some enemies are truly brutal from the beginning. One such git is the enemy carrying a shield, which can only be killed after said shield is removed. To do this, you need to either get in close and bash him with your coffin, or charge up a shot which requires you to stop shooting long enough to charge it. Now this is okay for the odd one guy, but with more, things can quickly go nasty as you're trying to avoid a number of them and get rid of their shields at the same time. Now the game does boast a huge variety of bosses to fight, some of which have several phases. Most of them are really enjoyable, learning their patterns in order to avoid their attacks and counter with your own stylish attacks. Each are extremely unique and almost all of them are quite enjoyable. However, don't always end up with having a boss fight until you're more than halfway through the campaign. They normally end with a big fight against a ton of smaller enemies, or just stop once you reach a certain section for a cutscene. Another nice touch is that you don't always play as Grave. Further into the story you switch to Bungie and Quartz, but only there for one level each. Regardless, their playstyles are a welcome switch, with Bungie being a faster, more agile Grave who can dodge whilst in burst mode, and Quartz being more a melee character base, even though the game is not really built for melee characters. Both was a welcome change, and their movesets were different enough to make it very entertaining. Overall, I found once you get past the teething issues and learn to familiar yourself with the game's mechanics, things quickly jump from frustrating to highly enjoyable experience that will push you into just playing one more level. Next is graphics. The game's visuals are truly unique and has some interesting design choices. Without a doubt, the characters shine the most in terms of presentation and overall aesthetics. Cutscenes are superb and capture the brutality of the game's landscape and its protagonist with an action film-like effect. Levels are gorgeous, and Gungrave G.O.R.E provides you with a ton of different environments throughout its campaign, from the dirty graffiti-filled alleys of Scumland to the neon-soaked streets of Hong Kong, moving on to the lush forests of Vietnam, among others. Each place looks, feels and plays a little differently, and the developer has done a great job of imbuing each location with its own unique vibe. One downside to these gorgeous landscapes is the need to explore them, as the levels provide numerous nooks and side rooms. Why is this a downside? Well, apart from enjoying the hidden visuals, there really is no reason to ever explore them unless there are enemies there. This is because there is no collectibles to find, no optional objectives to complete, or lore to pick up. It genuinely feels as this was forgotten about, or they ran out of time with the amount of places you can just wander around. And I hope they patch something in, as it really does need it. Enemy design is equally varied in terms of its types, though this can falter a little bit nearer to the end. One crux of the level design though is that some stages are just too brutal for their own good. One level contains a hall full of lasers you need to roll through. If you get clipped, you're instantly killed. Another is you running along the top of a train to get to the back to drop down before a tunnel kills you. However, it's populated with way too many enemies, and also complicates it further with large signs coming at you that can also kill you instantly. Thankfully, these scenarios are few, but being that one of them is early on, this can almost put the player off right at the beginning of their journey. Now, there are two visual options on the Series X version, with 4K 30 frames per second with ray tracing, or 4K 60 frames per second without said ray tracing. Both of these are stable and allow the game's visuals to shine when there is a large number of enemies on the screen, showcasing a true bloodbath bonanza. Finally, it's sound. The game's sound is another superb aspect that really ramps up in order to get you to the mood for murder. The shooting is loud and impactful, with the most visual demolition shots pulling out almost cannon-like sounds to really showcase off that devastation. Many attacks don't feel quite as weighty or damaging as they should, but when you're pulling off high combos, it really doesn't matter that much. The music is a combo of techno and metal that gives the right amount of weight to the game's over-the-top style. Depending on the levels, they change a bit, but overall there seems to be an average amount of variation. It really does match the ridiculous mood well, tapping into the edginess of its game and the intensity of its combat. My recommendation here would be a good quality soundbar or headset to really get the best bullet impact as you stylishly show off your skills. This leads me on to the rating of the game. Now, I rate games in order of avoid, on sale, great purchase and must own. My rating for Gungrave G.O.R.E is a great purchase. Without a doubt, this game is going to be Marmite to some, as it's clear to all this is a love letter to the original series and the 2000s style of gameplay. This is old school gameplay through and through, with the odd tweak for modern audiences, but not much. The game is about captivating a ballet of blood, bullets and Gungrave signature style, with a modern day twist that aims to be the best of old and modern day gameplay. The game is currently priced on Xbox at £44.99 or approximately $50, and depending on skill and patience will give you about 15 plus hours worth of gameplay. However, with the upgrades and the additional outfits to unlock, you can add another 15 hours to the mix. The game is also on Game Pass, so you won't have to spend a penny if you do have this service. I thoroughly enjoyed this game, and even though it has some frustrating elements, I keep going back to this and wanting to do just one more level. The lack of accessibility options is disappointing, and it is good to hear that they are going to patch some of these in, as the addictive fun is good once it clicks. I want more Gungrave and hope this keeps the series alive and killing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I do hope you like this review, and if you do, please like, share and subscribe if you so wish. And if you would like to put some notes or even just a comment in the comment section, I do like reading them. Anyway, have a great time gaming, and I'll see you all again soon.